Well, hello, and welcome again. Today to our fourth conversation in our series Adveniat Regnum Tuum, Thy Kingdom Come. We began our interviews by talking to a Bible scholar educator. We talked then to a performing artist, actor, director, producer. Today, let's go in a little different direction and let's talk to a building supervisor. Building supervisor, management of building. Let's speak today to Justin Scott. I love this quote that he gave us. The kingdom of heaven is what you put into it. Now, asking him how in fact this notion of the kingdom of heaven could play out in his life, watch for this. My job is to be challenged to take care of other people. You want to go home at the end of the day. All of his life, and especially in what he's doing in his occupation right here and now, is devoted to the welfare of others. Would it be wonderful if we could all see this in our own lives? How, in fact, do we take care of others? Discouragement, I asked him. He was very honest, very straightforward, as you will see. One of his great concerns has been in his educational work, in dealing with the challenge for young people in today's present world. Internet, Wi-Fi, all of the things that surround young people constantly and continuously. Into all of this brings his occupation at the present time into building management. I think you'll find this to be absolutely a fascinating time. And there are a couple of little things in there that may surprise you. And now, let me introduce to you Justin Scott. Great story. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just kind of as a starter, tell us something about yourself.
Let's see here. I'm very closely related to you.
I wasn't going to get into that. Okay, he cheated. I wasn't going to tell you that part. But we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah. Something about me. I am 48, I think.
Probably.
I think 48.
Yeah, because Jenna's 47.
Yeah.
That's great.
Married, kids, relatively healthy, happy. You know.
What's your background in education, for instance?
Well, after putting myself through college, I stumbled into a job at my alma mater, and
great.
I had gone in and just to say hi to one of the nuns, and she had asked what I was doing, and I'd said, I'm just finishing up college, I'm doing personal training, and she said, "You want a job?" And I said, because at the time,
that's always nice.
yeah, at the time I was selling women's shoes at Meyer and Frank.
Oh, there you go.
Uh-huh.
A lot of pretty feet.
Yeah, and so I obviously jumped on it, and then I worked in education for 24 years in athletics, strength and conditioning. It was fun.
Great. And what are you doing now?
Now I am in the construction industry. I am becoming a superintendent and a safety manager.
Wow.
So that means going site to site and basically being responsible for keeping people safe.
Is this a large company?
Yes, very large company. And and construction is one of the most dangerous industries on the planet. Second, I think the statistic is behind automobile accidents.
Wow.
Construction,
Workplace accidents.
yeah, is right up there.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, but and so far I love it.
You're enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
That's just terrific. Well, I imagine that what you are doing is going to fit right in with what we're going to talk about here, because your job really is to see to the welfare of the workers.
Absolutely.
The team. Well, as we were talking earlier, Jose Pagola sees the life of Jesus really in relationship to the notion of the kingdom of heaven or the kingdom of God. But he doesn't see it as down the road somewhere else, but right here and now. Without looking down for some other kind of reward. It reminds me kind of John Lennon. Imagine, can you imagine, a world where there's nothing else? This is what you have to do right here and now. Can you relate to that?
I can. And there are moments where I absolutely believe that that is the case. It can be as simple as being in the Columbia River Gorge and looking around, looking at where you're at, and that is a pretty big indicator that, hey, this is happening now. This is wonderful. Or gracious, people just being kind and gracious and thoughtful, little things. But at the same time, I also have that Catholic thing where you think of this is temporary, and you're going someplace.
Somewhere, yeah. Something else down the road.
Someplace. And the older I get, the more I question that. I hope that, that there is a hereafter. I hope that we're not just here for, we're what do you call it? A mistake in the universe that created.
Oh, sure, yeah. Some kind of a glitch.
Yeah. And all of a sudden we have this this conscious thought, and we think that, oh, well, because bad things happen.
Yeah.
Bad things happen. And, you always hear, well, it's God's will, or it's,
Yeah, can you imagine can you picture a God that would will or allow bad things to happen on purpose?
I do, because I don't think that when I think of God, I don't think that there is, some guy with a big white beard and directing like, okay, this person's going to be this way, and this person's going to be this way. It's like I think there's a joke about dogs, and when God was assigning dogs what their tasks were, he looked at the beagle and he said, okay, you guys, you're gonna smell stuff and you're gonna chase things. And then he looked at the poodle. He said, you guys, you're gonna just kind of sit around and sit in people's laps and be cute. And he goes through this whole thing, and then he gets to the Rhodesian Ridgeback, and he says, you guys, you're gonna fight lions. And the Rhodesian Ridgebacks are like, excuse me?
What, lion?
So,
what?
Yeah. So I don't think that there's, when I think of God, I don't think that, that there is an entity that is saying, you're doing this and you're assigned to this. I don't think that's the case at all, especially as I get older. I see it more as that there has to be something that is larger than us. And that there has to be, I don't think of God as, you can say a prayer and say, God, I wish I were rich. And that God's like, you know what, you deserve to be rich.
You deserve this.
Go for it.
All they're going to take care of you.
Yeah. I think that it's an interesting mix of faith, hard work, determination, luck being what you put into something, but as far as the kingdom of heaven being here and now, that in my mind says, sure, it is what you put into it. If you put forth, if you view things as a positive or things like that, sure, you can see the kingdom of God here, here and now. We live on a beautiful planet. We live. The human race, we as a species, for the most part, pretty good. There are bad apples, but 6 billion of us, you're going to get
Something's got to.
Yeah.
Huh. So, can you see in your own life and the things that you have done and that you are doing, how this idea of kingdom of heaven could play out in the actual work that you've done, whether it's teaching or whether it's doing what you're doing right now?
Oh, sure. I think that, like for instance, with what I'm doing now, I'm being put in a place where I'm challenged to really take care of other people. and really, you know, be that person that is, you know, like, hey, this is not safe. You don't want to not go home.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think that, and then I think when I was teaching, yeah, I definitely think that I was put there, or I landed there for a reason. It's my ability to communicate with people and to listen to them and to help them. So yeah, I think that.
That's really good. See, knowing you, and we've already gone past that part. Knowing you, I see you as a tremendous helper and worker to keep people not just safe, but engaged.
Oh, absolutely.
And thinking and moving toward good places. I've always thought that of you. So, if I asked you to go back and illustrate perhaps a couple of really good things in your life that you have accomplished, maybe not even intentionally, but turned out to be really, really good things. Can you name a couple?
First one that pops into my head is with education.
Sure.
And you know, as you know, I taught PE.
Yeah.
And in academia, most people look at phys ed as, you know, hey, you just roll the ball out.
Roll out the ball.
Call it good. But as time went by and as students that I had became adults, and they're continuously reaching out, and still to this day, you know, hey, can you tell me again what we were doing, because I was in, you know, I felt the best that I've ever felt, or you know, or thank yous for showing me how to take care of myself for my entire life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel pretty good about that. That's a.
Are there particular places in the work that you've done for years and years that you're really proud of? And not proud in a prideful way, but really proud of. Have you done really good work?
Oh yeah, with the strength and conditioning aspect.
Okay.
Because again, I mean, my whole philosophy with that was never to, you know, hey, let's see how strong we can make someone.
Sure.
It had always been, how can I help someone? How can I give someone the toolbox that they need to take care of themselves for the rest of their lives? Okay. And the majority of them that I had contact with did and still do. And so yeah, I'm proud of that.
Well, how about in what you're doing right now, which is world apart from what you used to do? What do you see in that you look forward to in these kinds of terms, the good that you can do?
I think that I will be very proud when people get to go home safe, and that they don't, and that they don't even have to think about it. That this is a culture within an industry that is so important, and the people that are coming in to this industry are doing things that are incredibly difficult, very, you know, hazardous, and for them to not have to worry about, hey, am I going to go home after this? I will be very proud of that.
That they know there's somebody looking out for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, when you're talking about this notion of kingdom of heaven right here and now, it seems to me that's really what you are talking about. Somebody's watching out for you. Mm-hmm. Somebody's got your back. Somebody that really cares about you as an individual. Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me about the discouraging moments in your life. Don't get
okay,
too gruesome.
This is going to take a long time. Oh boy, discouraging moments. Well, when Matt died, that was discouraging. When my brother,
so your brother had passed away.
Yeah.
This was an accident, driving accident.
Yeah, in a car accident, and that was discouraging. Let's see here. Having a failed marriage, that was discouraging.
Okay. In the work that you've done, you see anything discouraging in that, both with young people and with
Well, I mean, that's a whole other thing.
Sure.
I mean, personally not discouraged,
okay.
but seeing things that were discouraging.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
and, you know, and particularly working with children, knowing that some of these kids were going home to abusive situations. Knowing that, and especially as time went on and technology advanced, and now these children are facing adult issues via the internet with child brains, and they don't have the coping mechanisms, skills, and so that's discouraging.
Well, I mentioned to you one of the things that is associated with Jesus and the work that he did was this notion of looking out for the poor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't tend to in society be surrounded in most of our daily work with really poor people, but there are lots of different ways of being poor.
Mm-hmm.
Can you identify any poorness in the folks that you have dealt with and worked with over the years?
Absolutely. Morally poor.
Okay. Tell us about that.
Just people that I have worked with who would say something that their actions and their speech didn't match up, and they would make choices that were morally or ethically questionable. And so I don't see that. Well, I see that as a form of poorness.
Yes.
I see families where there is strife, conflict, whatever, and instead of a family being strength and an anchor, when it's not, I see that as poor or empty. I see it in varying degrees, because I've never thought poor had to mean financially.
Financially poor. Yes.
There are,
But many of the other ways of being poor are actually much more difficult and devastating than just financially.
absolutely. If you for instance, if you don't have, in my opinion, if you don't have a strong sense of faith,
Mhm.
you're poor. You're missing something from your life that, if you had that, your pockets would be full. And so I see it in all kinds of different areas. And the one that never has been the biggest one is finances. It's varying degrees of, if you're happy as a person, what are things that you can be doing to help you be happy? And if you're not happy, it's a form of being poor.
Well, and how many stories of people who are very wealthy leading really miserable lives?
Yeah.
Suicides,
Yeah.
all kinds of horrible things. Having what a poor person
Yeah.
would think of, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
You should be
Yeah,
delighted.
you should be great.
But not.
No.
Not at all. Wow. How about discouragements? Any place that you just look back and say, yeah, this is so discouraging, or was so discouraging?
Man, discouraging. Yeah.
Maybe not.
Well, there isn't like one big thing.
Sure. Exactly.
I'm looking more at like disappointments.
Oh, okay.
Discouragement.
That's good. Disappointments.
Yeah, because I tend to be a fairly positive person.
You do.
I tend to be able to look at a situation, even when it's just the absolute worst, and I can still see that, okay, something good can and will come from this. Might not happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Might not happen in a week. But when you go through those disappointments and discouraging moments, those are what, they build your character. They make you who you are. If you don't go through those, then you don't become the person that you are.
That's very good. That's really good. So we've been basing this on this notion of Jesus, that the kingdom of heaven is right here and now. Let's say that he knocks on the front door and wants to come in and just chat. Will you have any questions for him? Any comments you'd like to make to him?
Well, I would just listen. I mean, look, if Jesus is showing up,
Yeah.
there's nothing that I can ask him. I just want to listen and try to learn. And,
In that case, what would you hope he would address that you could listen to?
I would ask, how can I become a better person to help other people be better people?
Wow.
Because I look at, how, violence, all the gun stuff, everything, and in wars, and why can't, I was going to say, why can't we all just get along? But what is it in people that drives them to so much anger, hatred, violence? That's kind of what I would want to know.
But this is exactly the same thing he was facing every day.
Sure.
He was living in an ultra-violent world.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that kind of kept it together was the dominance of the Romans. Other than that, it was a very violent world.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect he'd have a lot to say about your questions.
I would love to listen.
Just talk to me. Just let me hear it.
Yeah, well, and just, give me a little, with your experiences, can you, give me some pointers on, what's the best way to do things? And in my conversations with God, I find that actually genuine listening, and, not just hearing, but listening to what other people are experiencing and going through, lends itself to more kindness, because there seems to be a lack of kindness in the world, and it's not. I think that when people talk about deeds and things that they do, I don't really think that's the biggest thing. I think that being there for other people is a bigger thing. That's just me personally. I think that being able to listen to them is, and listen impartially, just sit back and let people talk, or watch, their actions and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. You have some children, a couple of children.
Mm-hmm.
What do you hope, as life goes on, that you can leave with them or for them that you'd like them to be able to hold on to?
To be kind.
Oh, okay.
To be good to other people. Be good to themselves. Mm-hmm. And I think that is my biggest thing, and I try to model it with them all the time.
Okay.
Be kind. Listen. Take care of other people.
Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
Be kind.
Yeah.
What else? Be kind.
Yeah. Well, the golden rule, man.
Anything else? Be kind.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm so happy we got to talk. Any questions for me or any other comments you want to throw in?
I just appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, it's just been just terrific. And best wishes as you move on with this that you're doing and taking care of people on a whole different level than you have for all these years. What I know personally, of course, is that I know many of the people that you have influenced over the years in your teaching capacity, and they have nothing but just magnificent things to say about you. So, all the best. Keep in touch. I presume we'll see each other again soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
A little personal thing.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thanks for being
thank you.
with us. Justin Scott, what a delight. I thought that was really interesting. And of course, it became apparent that Justin and I have known each other for a very, very long time. What I found particularly wonderful, and certainly him to the core, is his tremendously positive attitude. These things that he said: be kind, be good, listen, take care of others. Why? So that, as he said, how can I become a better person to help others be better people? Be kind. I want to share one other short thing on kindness with you. When we talk often of Mother Teresa, her famous quote that the first thing to do is to be kind. And the second thing, be kind. And the third thing, be kind. I thought it was wonderful that, in fact, those are exactly the qualities that Justin brings to the importance of his own life, and who he is and what he does. Just as a short aside, one of our granddaughters decided that she was going to write a letter to President Biden and Vice President Harris. In asking her mother, I said, was this an assignment at school? And she said, no, for some reason she did this completely on her own. So she wrote this interesting little letter. I'll show you a copy there as we go. Dear Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, my name is Ren Hollingsworth. I'm 8 years old. My family is fond of you guys. I'm in 3rd grade. I love to read. I am excited to stop COVID-19 with you guys. Did this on her own. They packed it up, sent it off to Washington, D.C. Really not expecting any more from that. However, came a certain day in July, and of all things, she received this letter back on White House stationery. Dear Ren, thank you for sending such a kind note. Your support means a lot to Vice President Kamala Harris and me. Our country faces many challenges, and the work we have ahead of us is going to be really tough. I'm certain that we can come together as a nation and create positive change. It won't be easy, and I'm going to need your help. Even at your young age, you have the power to impact the future for our generation and generations to come. I urge you to remain curious, creative, and fearless. I wish you the best in the years ahead and look forward to seeing where your future takes you. And then the last 3 sentences. Study hard, keep challenging yourself, and be kind. Sincerely, Joe Biden. Be kind. Mother Teresa, Justin Scott. We'll see in our next interview, the next time that we meet, the same thing. Be kind. Can we do that? What would that mean in our present world, to be kind? I'll see you next time. Blessings always.